Sonic the Hedgehog, everyone's favorite cat impersonator, made his first appearance on the Sega Genesis back in 1991. For a while, all of Sonic's mainline entries were in 2D, from the original Sonic the Hedgehog all the way through to Sonic and Knuckles. And that wasn't a bad thing. The 2D Sonic games are fantastic. Many people will tell you they still are the best today. I mean, look at Sonic Mania. It's amazing. There were spin-off titles that push the perspective, like the racing game Sonic R, and the arcade fighting game Sonic the Fighters, but a true 3D Sonic game seemed impossible. But with the release of the Sega Saturn, a true Sonic 3D game could finally be realized. Sonic X-treme was being developed by Sega Technical Institute as Sonic's first real 3D game. It was originally going to be developed on the 32X, but development shifted to the Saturn in 1995. Sonic X-treme's development was, troubled, to say the least. The game saw switching from engine to engine having to be built from the ground up each time. The worst of this being when they were offered the Nights into Dreams engine, made by Sonic Team. They used it for 2 weeks, and then had it ripped away from them by Yuji Naka, who threatened to quit Sega if they kept using it. The game was shown off at E3 1996, and I bet you can guess what happened from there. Funnily enough, it seems that Sega actually cared about Sonic's reputation back then. After the cancellation of Sonic X-treme, Sonic Team finally got to making their own 3D Sonic game. On the Sega Saturn, using the Nights into Dreams engine. I'm starting to see why Yuji Naka told them they couldn't use the engine. Eventually, after the very quick death of the Sega Saturn, the team switched development to the Dreamcast. And finally, in September 1999, Sonic stepped into the third dimension. Sonic Adventure was really a new start for the franchise, introducing new characters and mechanics that became mainstays for the series to come, like homing attacks and the Chao and... Yeah, not you. You are lucky they let you into Team Sonic Racing. The game has 6 different adventures in which you play as different characters, with the first one, obviously, being Sonic. In Sonic's adventure, your main goal is to stop Robotnik from getting all the Chaos Emeralds. Shocking, isn't it? This time he's using them to power up a god he found in the Master Emerald called Chaos. You grab some emeralds, fight Chaos a few times, and also Knuckles for some reason, because why not? But you don't succeed. We'll get back to that soon. The gameplay in Sonic sections is great. For having to translate 2D Sonic into 3D like this, they did a fantastic job. Sure, they would improve on it later in Sonic Adventure 2, but we aren't talking about you right now. The first stage, Emerald Coast, really shows how much this game gets right from the start. The stage design, the speed, the homing attacks, the visuals, and the music all come together to make what I would dare say is one of the best Sonic stages of all time. Sonic stages even throw in some fun puzzles with mirrors and lights and walking on walls. But there's just one problem. These stages get way too difficult near the end. Sure, it might just be me, but I died like 15 times during the final boss fight here. Maybe I just suck at Sonic games. It's a real possibility. But it really does feel like there was a huge difficulty spike during those last few levels. Before we move on, now's probably a good time to explain who Chaos is anyway, because the game does it through weird flashbacks and they're kinda hard to follow. In short, Chaos is a godlike being that protects the Chaos and Master Emeralds, and the Chao, the lovely little creatures that you can take care of in the Chao Garden, which is easily the best feature of any Sonic game ever, and Sega would be smart to bring it back immediately. Anyway, Chaos gets a little upset when some echidnas try and steal the emeralds and end up hurting the Chao and his echidna friend Tikal in the process. Chaos almost destroys the world, but Tikal seals them both in the Master Emerald until Eggman does, Eggman shit. Anyway, after you play as Sonic, you get to play as Tails. Here we're going to start to see a pattern form of shorter story lengths and reuse of levels. Tails' story here is only 5 stages long compared to Sonic's 10, and Tails' first stage is also a reused one, Windy Valley. Luckily, these stages all have different objectives, like Tails racing Sonic to the finish. Now, how does Tails beat Sonic in a race when he can literally run at the speed of sound? Don't worry, I know.
That's right, we're gonna cheat.
The story told here is actually really nice, as it shows Tails learning to be a hero himself instead of just Sonic's sidekick. Tails fights Chaos and Knuckles and even stops Eggman from nuking a city. Because of course that almost happens. After Tails, we move over to our good old pal Idris Elba. Now, of course, Knuckles is just trying to put the Master Emerald back together, and then he gets tricked by Eggman into thinking it's all Sonic's fault. Pretty standard Knuckles stuff. But how will we find the shards of the Master Emerald, you may be asking? That's right, it's time for the first appearance of the treasure hunting stages. Funnily enough, this is also the second to last appearance of the treasure hunting stages. Honestly, I prefer how the stages work here compared to Sonic Adventure 2. Instead of only being able to see if you're close to one shard, all three will show you depending on which one you're close to. I guess the level design here does leave something to be desired, but it's still kind of fun. Plus you get to fight Sonic. Who doesn't want to fight Sonic? Oh, and you fight Chaos like 2 more times, just in case you were forgetting that Chaos is in fact the bad guy. And then after Knuckles, we get to play as a character we mysteriously don't play as at all in Sonic Adventure 2. Amy! Yeah, Amy only gets 3 levels here, and they aren't particularly fun. Amy's hammer attacks are cool, but after playing the 3 levels, I kinda just was left feeling that Amy deserved better. Her story's cute, I guess, with her protecting a bird that has a Chaos Emerald and she becomes friends with a robot. But honestly, there's not much there. And I really, really wish there was. Believe me, because I do not want to move on to Who's Next. Please, please, God, please don't make me move on to Who's Next. Big the Cat. I hate him. Holy shit. This is the worst fucking thing ever. Who lets their pet frog eat an emerald? Who thought fishing was a good idea for a Sonic game? Why does he move so fucking slow? Why does the fishing minigame suck? And why does he have a boss fight with Chaos? Anyway, moving on. Finally, we have Gamma, one of Eggman's robots who decides he's not evil anymore. I love Gamma's story, but I'm not gonna pretend it's well written. He literally walks into a room where one of his brothers, Beta, is being dismantled, and he is clearly distraught. Then he leaves the room, and we are treated to one of the most emotional pieces of dialogue in the entire Sonic franchise.
This is the wrong room.
Then Amy teaches him about the powers of love and friendship, and he lets them go. Then, of course, he goes and destroys all of the other robots. Why? Because, do you remember the bird Amy had? Turns out its family is stuck inside the other robots, so he's freeing them, and then sacrifices himself. And it's really sad, okay? It makes me really emotional. Gamma's gameplay is fun for a little bit, but just running around shooting does kind of get old pretty fast. Which is where the whole shorter story thing actually kind of is an advantage here, because I don't think I could have played another level of that without just turning the Dreamcast off. Now that you've beaten all the stories, a new mysterious 7th character appears. It's time to go supersonic. Chaos has turned into a water dinosaur, and because of that, has flooded the entire city. Like, seriously, stop and watch this cutscene and think about it. So many people are dying in this cutscene. This massive amount of death, of course, means it's time for a final boss fight, which is actually really fun, especially with an amazing Crush 40 track playing as you're doing it all. Just don't expect it to play for the entire boss fight, because for some reason, it just stops at some point, which sucks. Anyway, Sonic saves the day, Chaos sees that the Chao are not all dead, which makes him not mad anymore, and Tikal just flies away with them. The end? I know it sounds like I've been shitting on this game this entire time, but honestly, it's just all in good fun. A lot of the story, especially Tails' section, is some of my favorite storytelling in all of the Sonic games. And almost everybody's gameplay is actually pretty fun. I said almost everybody. Sure, the game has its issues. I mean, look at those facial animations. But that's to be expected with a series' first foray into 3D. In my eyes, Sonic Adventure is a fantastic jump into 3D. Without it, we wouldn't have had some of the best parts of the Sonic franchise, and there would have been a chance that Sonic would have been left behind as a forgotten quirk of the 90s. Besides, I'm sure a port to a newer system will fix all the issues the game has and make the game a more polished and enjoyable experience. At the very least, it won't make the game worse in any way, right? Oh god, what the fuck is that?